Alright, so thank you everyone for coming. If you just want to quick introduce yourself for those who are watching this.
Hi, my name is Samuel Newton.
Jacob Kraus.
And I'm Mason Kellner.
Awesome. So I'm Sean Vanakan. I'll be presenting about the STAR method for interviewing techniques. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pass out a little sheet for y'all. So this is a sheet from Duke University Explain the STAR method, but we're just going to go into a little bit more detail. So what we're doing today is the first 15 minutes. We're going to just kind of go over the STAR method, its uses, and go over a quick example of how we can use the STAR method when interviewing. And then I'm going to give you a sample job, each of you a sample job description, and you're going to go through the job description and using the question on the Duke University sheet of how you would approach that using the STAR method sheet. Okay. So the first thing STAR stands for, S stands for situation, and then T stands for task. So that really describes when you ask a question. So I use the example from the sheet. Tell me about a time when you had to provide difficult feedback about a team member. So the situation and task is really what was it? So in this case, the situation and task is a time when you had to give difficult feedback to a team member. So that might be so a task is described as a team member had consistently came in late every day for 2 weeks. So that's the situation and task. So this when answering an interview question, you just spend about 20% of your time explaining the situation or task. The next thing is action. So what did you do to provide that difficult feedback? So if you're the person supervisor, so after 2 weeks of observing them coming in late, I sat them down in my office and described to them and told them what I'd observed. I had started off with some general conversation. So how's your day going? To ease the conversation, and then I went into the conversation asking them if they knew why we were meeting, and providing the feedback. So you should spend about 60% describe the action of what you do. The reason you spend 60% of your time on the action, that's called behavioral interviewing. So behavioral interviewing is past actions predict future behaviors. So that's where you spend about 60% of the time on your action, and R stands for result. So you should spend 20% on the result. What was the result of the conversation? So after providing the feedback of them being late, the result of the conversation was the employee was not late for next year. So when describing, so what was it? So the person was consistently coming in late for 2 weeks. Action, what did I do? I sat them down in the office, had a small conversation before we went into the real conversation, had the conversation of they're late, what we were going to do to disseminate that or help out with that situation. 3, result, what had happened because of that. They were not late for next year. Okay, so those are 3 major aspects, and we're going to go into a little bit more detail of each one. So why using the STAR method? As I said before, past actions predict future behaviors. So there's a first thing of competency demonstration. So competency demonstration would be, how do I know that you know what you say you know? Does that make sense? Okay. So for example, if you say you know Microsoft Access, describe a time to me when you used Microsoft Access and what functions did you use in that. So you go through the STAR method of describing a time you used it. Okay, so it's situation, task, action, how you used it, result, what had happened because you used Microsoft Access in your position. Okay? Next one is ability demonstration. So what can you do? So if you are going for a management position, okay, and you say you can lead a team, describe a time when you've led a team on a big project and what were the results of it. So you would start situation, task. You would describe a time when you led a team in a project. A, action. What did you do with that team? Describe what you did for that project. Result, what were the results? Did you achieve results? Did you not achieve results? Now, one thing with the STAR method does not mean you always have to put yourself in the best light. If you did not achieve results, you can also say when you fell short and what you did to improve that. Right? Every employer understands that you're not perfect. So give them examples, and they might ask you direct examples. Tell me a time you fell short of a project, and what did you do to improve that for next time? That'd be a good use of STAR. Brief and concise response. When interviewing, you typically have a set amount of time to complete the interview. So that might be 15 minutes, depending if you're at a part-time type of position. That might be an hour. That might be 3 hours. It depends on the position you're applying for. When they ask you a question, they do not want a 20-minute response for one question. You want to be brief, concise, and clear with what you want to convey, which is why you spend 20% on the task, situation task, 60% on the action, and 20% on the result. Brief, clear, and concise of what it is you want to display. Tell the action, give the result. Okay? Alright. So, situation, a problem you had to resolve, and a task you need to accomplish. What have been some situations that you have encountered within your positions?
Oh, that's the answer part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, typically when they ask a question, response is wanted.
Are you referring to job-wise or anything?
Whatever. Anything, whether that's student organizations, that's teams you've been on.
Let's see, angry customers due to, I guess, performance work taking longer than usual.
Okay, so angry customers, or taking a bit longer. And any others?
A bunch of guys lose their equipment all the time.
Losing equipment? That's an issue. Yeah.
That is.
Okay. So, Sam, how about you?
Mostly not knowing what to do when during my task of painting when necessarily I have something unfamiliar on a wall, if I keep it on the wall or paint around it.
Okay. So, some of the instruction you
Yeah.
want to paint.
Yeah.
Okay. So, the task is a little different than a situation. So what you're expected to do, adopt a strategy to solve the problem. So the situation, the task, that's kind of the prelude to what you need to do for the situation. Does that make sense? All right. So what are you expected to do considering that situation you're just in? So Sam, you're painting one. So the task you're meant to do when you paint.
Yes.
Okay. Jake, your equipment example. Okay, so the task, what task needs to happen in order for the people to stop losing their equipment? Mason, I'm gonna use the angry customers one, cause that's just an easier one for me to understand, right? So, in the angry customers, what's the procedure in order to deal with an angry customer in whatever environment that's in, okay? So, the action is really what you did in that situation, okay? So, actions look to address the situation in the appropriate amount of details, and keep the focus on you. Don't have the focus on the other people. It's what you did, because the interview's about you and showing what you did then to predict future behaviors, behavioral interviewing. Okay, so in the action of losing equipment, what did you do?
First time it happened, I pulled them aside and I talked to them. Then when it happened again, I assigned them a partner to make sure that they didn't lose their equipment. And then when it happened the third time, we tied their equipment to them.
Okay.
Another situation is I had this partner who had helped me paint for a couple of days, and at first I thought he was doing a good job at first, but I saw he was a little messy, sloppy. He left white spots on the walls.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did to remedy the situation is I did a bit of a demonstration how to apply it, see what things he can improve on to teach him some techniques to help him increase his neatness.
Okay.
In a way of saying it. Saw him doing it again. Saw what the things that he improved on, what things he still needed to improve on, and just went from there.
Right. So your action was showing him some different techniques for him to improve.
Yes, and also you have to know that this is, again, there was a specific amount of how much we had to paint in a specific day. So techniques not only to improve his neatness, but to improve his speed.
Awesome. So different techniques to improve accuracy and speed.
Yes.
Mason, how about you?
Go to the customer and talk to them directly and ask, what their problems they're encountering, and ways that we can help solve to their satisfaction, or what they would kind of like out of the situation to be able to appease them.
Yep. So, talking to them, figuring out what the problem is, and taking further action on whether it's giving them free merchandise, or if they just want to return the merchandise, or whatever that is, to help them move forward, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Awesome. The next one is results. So be specific as possible with your results, the outcome of the actions, and the answer contains multiple positive results. Okay, so with your Sam, what were the results of your actions showing different techniques with painting?
Well, you basically say he improved a lot on his improved a lot on his accuracy and speed, and pretty much left him to it at that point.
All right, so because you showed different techniques, he improved and
to the point where I didn't need to watch him.
Right, so he could do it independently.
Yes.
Awesome. Mason, how are you talking to your customer?
The customer felt as though that they were actually genuinely connected and actually someone who cared, so a lot of their anger had gone, and then otherwise, once we worked with them to see what they would like to be appeased by, then they actually came back happier or more satisfied, and felt worth it to give it another shot.
So Mason says some really good things, and so did Sam. I'm gonna come back to that in just a second, though.
Mm-hmm.
Jake, how about you with the equipment?
When he wasn't tied to him, he still managed to lose it, so we ended up essentially firing him.
So the results in this case were not very positive. So that's probably an example that you wouldn't want to use, because the answer contains multiple positive results. So a different way to talk about that, rather than saying we fired him, is after we let him go, there was less equipment that was lost, and all the equipment was able to be found in a more timely manner. So it's virtually the same thing, just putting the multiple positive results on it. So less equipment lost due to him no longer being there. But Mason, yours was really good, because there were multiple positive results in there. They were satisfied, they were connected, they wanted to come back, and they felt genuinely cared for. Those are 4 specific examples that are used within the results that show what your actions did. So because of how you went through the STAR method, past actions reflect future behavior, right? So the process you all went through will show the employer or your prospective employer of what you'd possibly do in the future. So this really goes back to Mason's example, right? So unhappy customer. The task was to satisfy the customer, right? Person screaming at you, I'm sure swearing all sorts of colorful words in your direction. Mm-hmm. So you want to make the customer happy. Excuse me, thank you. So the action, so explain why the service is slow and offer free drinks. Now we'll make the assumption this is at a fast food restaurant. Okay? So explain why service will offer free drinks, because the customer just sometimes wants to know, sometimes they care, sometimes they don't. But really just whatever the customer wants. If they want a free drinks, give them a couple of free drinks in order to make them happy and feel connected and wanting to come back, and that you truly care for them. So the last one, results. The customer is calmed and others waited quietly. So that's a quick example of an angry customer, of how you use the STAR method. Okay? So is there any questions right now on any of the 4 steps? All right, so before we move into our next activity, I just want to make sure we all know what the 4 steps are and what they mean. Okay, so what's S? Situation. And what does that mean?
It means the problem.
The problem that exists.
Mm-hmm.
T. What's that? Task. What does that mean?
What do you want to do about the problem?
Yep. A.
Action.
Action you took. Yep. So, do we need to go deeper explanation of that?
No.
No? Okay. R.
Results.
What ended up happening because of your actions and assessment?
Yep. And what needs to happen when you explain the result?
Positive outcomes.
Positive outcomes. Multiple positive outcomes. Okay? Now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand, on the back of your Duke Center sheets, there's a little table that's called organizing your experience. So you're going to apply the STAR method by using this chart to recall specific experiences that will support your response in an interview. Okay, so I'm only going to have you do one of these, one row. So there's for the leadership, ability, working teams, analytical skills, and adaptability. Sam, can I have you do ability to work in teams?
Okay.
So your question would be, describe a time when you had to work in a team. Okay. Mason, can I have you do leadership? So describe a time when you had to lead a team. And then Jay, can I have you do adaptability? So a time when you had to be adaptable in a situation. So So assume that you're applying for a entry-level management position, okay? So whether that's a Kmart, Walmart, something like that, is an entry-level management position, okay? And if you come in to do that. And if you need some idea generator, there's a sample situation on the back side of the sheet. Another 30 seconds or so to finish up. Awesome. While Mason's finishing up, I'll have each of you share what you put down. That's okay. So which one do you want to share first?
Sure, I'll go first.
All right. Want to describe your situation?
Our radio stopped while we were taking fire.
Okay. So just so you know which one we're looking at here, adaptability. So what was your situation?
That we were under fire and our radio stopped working.
Okay, so you're under fire and your brakes up.
Yes.
Okay, that's a problem. Yes. Okay.
It's a major problem.
All right. Well, so what was the task?
We were trying to call for support.
All right. So want to call for support?
Yeah.
Okay. In action.
Basically, we had to switch to adapt our communications to switching to our secondary call system, which involved flares.
So using flares as your secondary communication
Yeah.
system. Okay. And what were the results of that?
We were able to get our support there, take up a stronger fighting position, and essentially adapt to the situation and recover, and nobody got hurt.
So you got support and being able to accomplish the task that you were given. Now, the one thing, one of the tips that it provides on the front page is to provide enough context around the situation. So with that one, I would recommend saying I was in the military. I was in the military and we were under fire. Good. I like that. Sam, how are you?
Okay, for ability to work in teams,
Okay.
name of the story is group project.
Okay.
For our individual and society class, we had to collaborate for a group assignment, which was about 11 people large.
Okay.
The situation was, due to improper organization, we didn't have enough time to collaborate well enough to work on the project, since there were so many people and everybody has different schedules for classes, work, personal life, and
Okay.
just that only gave us about, on average, like 4 people per group meeting. So that was a big problem, since a large majority was not there during those critical group times.
Okay.
So the task was find a good enough amount of time to where the vast majority, like say not 9 to 10, 9 to 10 people can meet up, because if like 1 or 2 people couldn't show, that'd be fine, since we can't account for all things.
Okay.
The action was that we all communicated online, setting up specific dates in which the vast majority of us were present and could find the time to work on this project for a sizable amount of time.
Okay.
And a result, we found enough days and found enough time to where we could work on the project, get a good chunk of it done during those intervals in time, and get it done sooner rather than doing it at the last minutes.
So all of that, if I'm interpreting that correct, is that you got it done before the due date.
Yes, but we did it well enough to the point where it was we put a lot of effort into it, not just a small group of people doing the task themselves, but the larger group participating.
Awesome. Did you get a good grade on that assignment?
Yeah, I'd say we did.
Okay. So yeah, that's another great example. Devin, with the results section, multiple positive things that came out of it.
Yeah.
I think the biggest one would have been the grade that came out of that. The task was definitely get you all working together to get it done on time. But I think another positive result was what grade you to get on it. But everything else was really good as part of the situation.
Yes, but I feel like the grade,
Mm-hmm.
you could have gotten a good grade whether a lot of people worked on it or didn't. It's just that if you have more people working on it, then
Mhm.
it's less stress on the minority, because
Yeah.
you could still get a good grade, but you have put all that pressure on a very small group of people,
Yeah.
while other people are doing it. And would you really see that's a grade well earned?
Right. So you got a good grade even with having multiple people working on it, right?
Yes.
Yep. That's exactly it. Mason, how about you?
Alright, just start with the situation.
You did leadership, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
So my situation was I was in a organizational communication class for a class here at the university.
Okay.
This is junior and senior level class, and I'm a freshman in it currently.
Okay.
So that's the situation. The task was that we had to put together a 20-minute speech on a case study with relating to theories we talked about in class, and as well as explaining what had gone down in the story to the entire class, almost like a shortened version. So with the task, we had limited time together. It was a difficult topic, and no one really had a game plan besides myself.
Okay.
So the action that I took was to hear everyone's perspectives of the stories and the topics that they wanted to discuss. I then delegated the tasks for who would be working on the PowerPoint, who would be working on the speech, and then from there I would follow, as well as working on my own parts of the whole project. I would be following up with different individuals, making sure everything would make sense to them, as well as they would be comprehending the information, and then additionally hearing all options with the group and be able to make sure the group had a say in what would go down with the project.
Okay.
So that was the action, and then the result, we achieved a B for the grade. We had access information when a lot of the groups didn't have enough. Everyone was satisfied with the group, and no one felt left out.
Good. That was a really good point. I liked your results. You had multiple positive results. You actually described what you did and how you remedied based on the task and situation that they're at hand. So, do you find this useful to use in an interview?
Mm-hmm. Yes, very.
Yeah. So what are a couple of things that you learned out of today?
Basically the outline of how you want to approach an interview. It was very organized, and you could, and this is a good structure for explaining things. Just whereas if you didn't have this, your thoughts might be jumbled. You might be nervous, but this kind of organizes your thoughts in a way, I think.
Yeah. So, STAR, what does it stand for? Situation.
Task. Action. Result.
How much time should you spend on S&T? 20%.
20%.
Action. 60%. Yep. And result. 20%. Exactly. So that is all I have for all of you. Thanks for coming today. I hope you got something out of this.
Oh yes.
Yes, thank you very much.